Hey, thanks for voting. Looks like the first one we're going with are the exploration cruisers. Stay tuned to the end to find out how to vote for the next section. Okay, so as I said, we're going to be taking a look at the exploration cruisers. This one's one that most people should recognize, even if they don't necessarily watch Star Trek. I mean, granted, the Constitution is probably a little more iconic, but Galaxy class is probably up there too. So what I'm going to do something a little different this time. Instead of looking at the Galaxy and then the others, I'm going to look at them side by side. Well, I say side by side, I can only look at one at a time. I want to do a length comparison to start off with. So Galaxy class we've got right here. Then let's do the Celestial, which is longer and is a little more reminiscent of the Ambassador class because of the overall shape and the nacelles. The Envoy, which I always say each set has one that looks like it's more tactical oriented, which this one looks more aggressive than the others. And we also have the Andromeda and the Venture, which are paid for ships. I think the Venture is the paid for at this level, and then the Andromeda is a further one. So might as well add those to the comparison. Then you've got the Venture, which I mean looks very similar to the Galaxy, like very similar. And finally the Andromeda class, which just looks a little more stocky, but it still looks good. So with that being said, let's actually take a look at the ships themselves. Let's start with a top-down view. You've got the nacelles, of course, the grills right there, impulse engines right there, I think the other one's right there. Bridge module, phaser array that actually goes almost all the way around the saucer. Stops right there and right there. And then main shuttle bay, and then you got shuttle bay there and there. Phaser strips right there. This ship actually has pretty good coverage for its defenses. Let's look at it from the front. Then you got the deflector. Got the torpedo launcher, I believe was right there. Then again, you got the phaser array going all the way around. This is actually a captain's yacht that was actually never shown in the show. Unfortunately, I can't get the angle right. Bunch of windows. This is basically a city in space. Let's see. We already looked at the right view, so let's look at the left. There's a phaser strip right there that's mirrored on the other side, so it's got good coverage on its weapons. There's a dorsal one there. I think dorsal's the word I'm looking for. Don't know if the model actually has the warp core ejection point. I want to say it's like right there, right there. Don't know what this is. Or, for that matter, it's mirrored right there. It's interesting. But I don't know what it is. So, I mean, I've seen it so much, I'm not really sure what to say about it. You got the aft torpedo launcher right there at the base of the spine. There's the impulse engines right there, and there. And the phaser strips I was talking about, no, ones on the pylons are right here. I don't quite know what those are. I don't think they're torpedo launchers. As I said, you got the main big old shuttle bay right there. It's kind of odd that these aren't the same size. Oh well. Next up, we'll look at the Celestial, which, as I said, looks more like the Ambassador class. It definitely looks like a stepping stone. I wish I could show actual side-by-side. The nacelles are more conical compared to really any of them. Honestly, I never really liked the nacelles on this one. But again, you got the torpedo launcher, deflector dish, a wide light strip right there. I actually hadn't noticed that. Does the Galaxy have that? Nope. And another wide light strip right here. The bridge module. Let's look at it from the back. The impulse is there, and there. This model's not very detailed, honestly. It's like they never bothered to update it after they put it in. Does it even have a phaser array? Guess maybe this part going around it right here. Definitely non-modeled, really. It's interesting. The neck, I guess, looks similar enough. Maybe it's a little shorter, but honestly, never really cared for the nacelles on this one, like I said. Everything else about it, I guess, looks alright. Moving on to the Envoy. This one just looks stockier and like it's built for combat or built to last. Bridge is up here, of course, like all of them. We got, looks like a couple torpedo launchers fixed in right there, maybe right there. Definitely a. This one's definitely more detailed than the Celestial. I didn't. Yeah, there's the escape pod hatches lining the saucer. I was gonna say you didn't even see any. The deflector's kind of more tucked in. I like the pylons on this one. Granted, they look rugged, which, I mean, I don't like the rugged look, but I find it interesting that they're split like that. It's like, wouldn't that reduce the integrity? It's like, you have to break, smaller parts are easier to break, basically. But, is that an impulse? I don't know. Trying to see if I can determine any torpedo launchers on the back. But there's the impulse. It's actually got 4 right here instead of the normal 3. Let's see. But I mean, there's, like I said, it's rugged. I'm not sure what else to say about it. I don't see any discernible weapons arrays aside from the torpedoes. I mean, you get the hard points right there that the game models in for its use, but these are actually raised. I don't know what purpose, aside from, more interior space, but like I said, it just has that overall rugged feel. Wonder if that's part of the deflector. Interesting coloration. And then, let's see, these. I don't know if those are windows, but whoever's got those windows doesn't have much of a view. Actually, come to think of it, the Galaxy class is similar. It's like, maybe not. Those windows look. Some of these windows look down. But got a glare there. Anyway, let's move on to the Venture, which is definitely an updated version of the Galaxy. If you look at the deflector, it looks like they just kind of took the deflector and slapped something under it. Made it a little bulkier. Definitely a good shuttle bay right here. Anybody who's watched this enough knows that I like picking out the shuttle bays. Jeez, what is that glare coming from? Let's see. A couple of phaser strips right there, maybe? Looks like it might have one going around right here. From the top. What is with the glare? Can I change the color on this? I'm sorry, I usually go with the default color, but there we go. This cuts the glare down a lot. Ooh. Veteran, I think, pulses a little bit. Maybe not. Anyway. At least this cuts the glare down. You got the phasers right there. Does it have a big shuttle bay on the back? Honestly, that seems like a flat. I think it's flat, but I'm trying to ignore all the colorations on it because that's the result of the texture I put on. So I think the default is Type 6, so there's a big glare on it. Actually, let's just do the Type 7. It gets rid of. Looks mostly the same and gets rid of the glare. Maybe not. Okay, this at least will let us look at the shape. I like the nacelles. I like the pylons. The pylons kind of attach weird compared to they're rather similar to the Galaxy, but they attach they attach towards the back, and actually the pylons attach to themselves, like right here. But I mean, I'm not really seeing any discernible phaser arrays. Unless maybe that's what those are. That, maybe those. In which case it has very poorly defended on the model. The deflector is kind of an actual dish. It's kind of inset there, you can see. Don't know what's right there, though. I don't know if I can get it to show up very well. But, yeah, it's definitely a sleeker version of the Galaxy. I'll give it that. And, I mean, granted, I'm so used to the Galaxy, I like it better, but I can see this being the natural evolution of the Galaxy. And finally, we have the Andromeda class, which it looks like it takes some of the aspects from the Galaxy and the Venture and throws in some of the stockiness of the Envoy. And by stockiness, I'm more referring to like the nacelles, but maybe not. The pylons are a little more upswept. This one actually is detailed on the model. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right, those are a good spot for the phaser arrays, but anything right there should catch it. But it's got detailed. This was definitely the later you go into the game, the better the detailing is. They actually started to seem to care. I think. You have it's like 1, 2 shuttle bays. I don't know what that is. The impulse is there, there, and there. I'm not quite sure what I think about the cells. I mean, I like them, but I don't know. Something feels off about them. Maybe it's the way they taper and are flat. It's reminiscent of one of the flagship cruisers that I looked at. I think it was actually the first set of ships I looked at. Phaser right there is a good spot because makes the phasers can't always hit everywhere. Blind spots are always, of course, an issue when you're trying to defend yourself. I don't know if those are windows or not. One thing I wonder is if all the living quarters are up in the saucer, what are all the windows down here for? Do all the science labs need windows? I don't know. But I mean, it's a good design. I've always been kind of torn on the forward swept pylons. I mean, depending on the ship, they can look good. I guess I'm just mostly used to the nacelles being behind or going further back than the rest of the ship. Because even on the Galaxy right here, it's not by much, but they do go. Oops, no way. A little behind it. Venture does it too. But then the Andromeda, I mean, yeah, they go a little behind it, but I don't know. I wonder how it would look if you reversed the nacelles. Like, cut that off right there, attach it here, and kind of had it reversed. I don't know. Torpedo. What are those? I didn't notice those flashing there. I think that's the torpedo launcher. That's interesting that those are flashing. It doesn't seem to have any purpose to do so. Speaking of flashing, I like how they have the this would be the starboard scene that's looking at me, and port lights actually blink on the models. But anyway, that'll do for the exploration cruisers, I guess. Stay tuned, and I'll have a little short on what you're voting on next. Thanks for watching. To keep voting consistent at the Tier 5 level as with the other tiers, I'm breaking up the 6 sets of ships into 2 sets this time. For this first set, we have the Star Cruisers, the Advanced Escorts, and the Reconnaissance Science Vessels. As always, follow the link in the description if you want to vote, and have a great day.